day learners, welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Today we are looking at another aspect of type of lyric poetry. The question is based on type of lyric poetry.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
Another question on the type of lyric poetry is drawn from the African poem Black Woman by Leopold Sédar Senghor. This promises to be very, very interesting. African poem Black Woman, Leopold Sédar Senghor. That is the title for today. Subtitle, we'll be looking at the question: how correct is it to describe the poem Black Woman as an ode? Just as we look at the song of the women of my land as a dirge, we are going to look at this poem as a poem that fits into the category of an ode. Learning objectives. This is what we want to achieve at the end of this lesson. To study the poem, analyze the poem, define ode as a type of lyric poetry. At the end of the lesson, students will still continue to state the demands of the question and answer the question. The background of this poem, the analysis, has been done in the previous lesson. So there is no need for us to begin to repeat the analysis and the background. So we go straight to the question: how appropriate is it to describe the poem Black Woman as an ode? How appropriate is it? Can it be a very good example of an ode? The characteristics of an ode. When we learn the characteristics, we'll be able to actually look at the poem in the light of those characteristics that have been stated. The first thing that we notice about an ode is that it's a vivid description of the heartfelt feelings of the poet. Number two, it is always written in praise of something. Number three, make use of apostrophe. So in poems like this, you see the very passionate display of the feelings of a poet. We'll see whether that poem is full of praises of somebody or something, and also that prominent device that is always common in ode is present in the poem. The demand of the question: statement on the central theme of natural beauty of Africa. That is the theme, that is the central theme of this poem, the natural beauty of Africa. Africa that has been looked down upon before this time is now being celebrated, idolized, and worshipped by the African writers, especially in this poem by Leopold Sédar Senghor. You'll be able to explain that poem as the ideology of literary African writers who use the medium of their work to celebrate African culture and heritage. This poem actually reflects the ideology of negritude. The writer is actually the chief exponent of negritude. Negritude is an ideology that is put forward by African writers to always celebrate African culture and heritage in their literary works, so that to the outside world, Africa can now be looked at in a different light rather than being a set of retrogressive race that the whites has actually seen them to be. Explain, okay. Define ode as a type of lyric poetry and state its features. It's a type of lyric poetry that praises a particular thing or somebody that is not present. State the reason why the poem is an ode by picking the features of ode in the poem. We have stated the features before this time. And so we have the features present in this poem. In this poem, it is actually praises from the beginning to the end of the poem. In the first stanza, the color, which is the black color, and the form, the structure of a black woman is being praised. It actually calls it natural beauty, an identity of a black African person. It goes on to portray the land of Africa as a land under which it was nurtured. It is inside Africa that he was born and nurtured before he actually goes out to other continents. And now, outside the continent of Africa, he praises Africa as a promised land. He has gone far and wide, but yet home is the best. Africa is still the best place. He calls Africa a promised land. That is another praise. That's another praise. The next one is full of praises still. He said, Africa is farm, flesh, ripe fruit, sombre raptures of black wine. It's actually praising the natural resources of Africa. Out of Africa, there are a lot of natural, beautiful things coming out of Africa. It goes on to praise the landscape of Africa. He said, Africa is savanna. It's a savanna that stretches to unclear horizon. It's so vast that it's connected with other lands. That's another praise. It goes on to praise the resilient spirit. It compares Africa to calf tom-tom. A tom-tom is a drum in Senegal. It's a drum beating, not broken. And so that is the praises bestowed on Africa, on our resilience. He called Africa oil. That is resolute spirit of Africa. Praising Africa's resolute spirit. An Africa that's not easy to back out. An Africa that will not back out, that will not relent, that is still standing firm in the midst of tribulation and challenges. He calls it gazelle. Gazelle is a beautiful animal among animals. So Africa is an embodiment of beauty, of grace that is found in gazelle. It's a pearl, an ornament of beauty that beautifies. Africa is also praised in the area of a black hair that actually make the face to be beautiful. So from the beginning to the end of this poem, it is always praises and praises and praises. And we have the feature of apostrophe. Africa is not present, but Africa, in order to address Africa directly and as if it is present, he embodies Africa into a black, beautiful woman. And by doing that, he was able to address Africa. So we have the use of apostrophe here, addressing somebody or something that is not present as if it is present. Then we have other ones that can be seen here. State, okay, we have, that is number 4. Then number 5, make a conclusion that the poem is a piece that reflects the ideology of negritude because it is full of praises, and that should be the concluding part of that question. To have been able to prove that it is filled up with praises, and that is the essence of the ideology of negritude that is put forward by African writers to always reflect in their works, and that is what is reflected here. And because it is reflected here, it can actually be seen as an ode. Thank you very much for listening. For questions, comments, or assessments, you can reach us on our social media handle displayed on the board.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO Candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.